Regardless of what kind of background we come from, we were all children at one point. We all had an adult who had the responsibility of teaching us right from wrong and good from bad. The ways by which these things were taught vary greatly from person to person and family to family, and throughout the years, many studies have been conducted in order to see how that has shaped us into the people that we have turned out to be today. Research shows that corporal punishment is not an effective way of disciplining a child because it teaches them that violence gets desired results, harms their mental health, and can create criminal and antisocial behavior all the way into adulthood. What is corporal punishment? Corporal punishment of children is by definition the gratuitous intentional infliction of pain on children's bodies for the purpose of modifying behavior. Some forms of corporal punishment include spanking, slapping, hitting, smacking, and paddling. Until the last couple of decades, the idea of corporal punishment being harmful was not really brought to the forefront of society. Actually, in most cultures, it was and is still considered a reasonable disciplinary tactic and a parental right. What are the desired results of corporal punishment? Behavior modification, to stop an undesired behavior. Although proponents believe that corporal punishment assists in teaching children right from wrong, what is it actually teaching them? If it does modify behavior, it's not in the way that the parent believes. Aggression release. The parent or caregiver is able to release their anger or aggression about a situation. Corporal punishment usually occurs in the heat of the moment, when tempers are high and a situation is brand new. If parents or guardians took a step back for a few minutes, they might realize that there is a better, non-violent way to handle the situation and use it as a learning opportunity for the child instead. Instilling fear of misbehavior. By this I mean making the child afraid to misbehave instead of teaching them why the action was wrong and why they shouldn't do it again. Corporal punishment is used in schools as well. 31 states prohibit corporal punishment. The term paddling is used instead of spanking and is usually administered by the school principal with a wooden paddle. Schools have endorsed corporal punishment in the past, and even in today's society, there are still schools that utilize this type of punitive disciplinary style as a means of discouraging certain behaviors such as lying, fighting, or even something as simple as forgetting your homework. Corporal punishment teaches children that violence gets desired results. Dorpath said harsh coercive discipline tends to increase crime and delinquency. Corporal punishment teaches children that violence gets the desired results despite the short-term positive impact that a smack or spanking may have on the child to conform to his desired behavior. It is linked to violent behavior and crime both inside and outside the family, all the way into adulthood. Parents who punish aggression with aggression may be successful in moving violent behavior outside the home. Once a pattern of violence has been established within a household, how then can a parent effectively discipline their child for that child's own aggressive outbursts? The most noted areas in both children and adults that had corporal punishment used as a means of discipline in their household were mental health, aggression, and criminal and antisocial behavior. And that comes from the American Psychological Association. It's no coincidence that if a child grows up in a hostile atmosphere, where they are constantly concerned about the infliction of pain by the adults they are surrounded by, that they can develop a kill or be killed mentality towards others. There are more effective forms of discipline. Some optional resolutions are give the child a timeout. This gives you time to cool off and gives the child time to think about what they've done wrong. Give them an explanation. Explain to the child why what they did was wrong and why they shouldn't repeat the action. Take it as a learning experience for the child. Express disappointment instead of anger. It has been proven that children respond better to disappointment than to anger. It is by examining data and evaluating their conclusions that both science and society benefits. There are many questions when it comes to the ongoing research and the damaging effects of corporal punishment, but some things are very certain. Corporal punishment is linked to violent and criminal behavior. It creates a cycle of violence that is very difficult to break. It teaches children that violence gets desired results. Research shows that corporal punishment is not an effective way of disciplining a child. It teaches them that violence gets desired results, harms their mental health, and can create criminal and antisocial behavior all the way into adulthood. Children require nurturing and discipline in order to learn right from wrong and help them become productive members of society. That much is not debatable. The method in which this is achieved, however, continues to be a source of debate. One thing is for sure, however, as parents, we need to be cognizant of how our actions and reactions to situations impact our children and ultimately what kind of adult they turn out to be. It is a huge responsibility and one that should not be taken lightly. Are there any questions?
Has there been any in-depth research completed on the subject of corporal punishment?
It's a good question. Yes, in fact, the American Psychological Association did a study over 62 years to determine what factors or behaviors corporal punishment affected all the way from childhood into adulthood. The most noted areas in both children and adults that had corporal punishment used as a means of discipline as a child were mental health and aggression. The noted area by the APA was the risk of generational continuance of abuse. That is, those children that were raised in an abusive household continue using the same type of behavior modification in their homes as adults. It turned into a cycle of abuse.
Is there a difference in the sexes when it comes to corporal punishment, or is it about even?
Theorists of childhood discipline are acutely concerned with gender, and they talk at length about why the differences necessitate different disciplinary strategies. In many cultures, corporal punishment is inflicted more harshly and more often on males than on females. The mentality that males, even as children, need to be tough or tougher than females has been a stereotype that even today many proponents of corporal punishment do not see as an issue. Although research shows that boys and girls do have a tendency to learn things differently, the idea that it's okay to spank a boy and not a girl seems absurd in this day and age.